close to 10 minutes the city senator will ever get.
We have had a great working relationship, Senator Graham. I look forward to continuing to talk with you about military issues and the challenges that we face as a nation. There's no one who knows our military in the background because he serves in our military. And so God bless him and his service to our country in many facets. When you said, you know what we should call Tim? I was thinking he's going to say dummy or something like that. Thank you for defending me on the North Carolina guy. Appreciate that. I'll tell you though that I know that some of you have y'all heard about my attacks recently? Yeah. Okay.
It was shameful, and Tim Scott is one of the most decent people in politics today.
Well, I will tell you that. Thank you. When I woke up that morning and I saw the attacks, I thought to myself back to the days when I was in high school and I was flunking out of high school and I was failing world geography. I think I'm the only senator to ever fail civics.
You wouldn't know it by looking at it. So.
And then I went on to fail Spanish and English. Now when you fail Spanish and English, they don't call you bilingual. They call you ignorant because you can't speak anything like that. So I kind of understood why he was saying dummy at that time, in other words. And one of the reasons why I focus so much of my attention on the issue of education is because I've done it wrong. And then I got it right. And as a nation, when we look at where we are, comparatively speaking to the other OECD or high-income countries, we were 14th, 17th, and 26th in reading, math, and science, and now we're getting worse. If we're going to have the workforce of the future in our country, we're going to have to fix the foundation of our workforce through education. And having seen the response to amazing teachers who came to my rescue and a mother who believed that sometimes love, it has to come at the end of a switch. And she loved me a lot. And when you combine those two together, loving teachers and a great mom, you find yourself in a position to build back the foundation of a person, of a community, of a state, and a country. And so one of the reasons why my platform starts with education is because I believe that education is the way that we unleash potential. And when I think about the success of Greer, I think about the fact that the foundation is so solid. I was talking to some folks in the audience earlier. The success of Greer isn't the fact that we've attracted industry. The success of Greer are the people that makes the industry possible. And when I was a small business owner, I joined my chamber, got very actively involved because sometimes you need some help when you're signing the front of the paycheck, but you can't sign the back for yourself. And so you join the chamber looking for some misery-loving company kind of concept. Anyone understand what I'm talking about? Thank you very little. Anyways, so the second part of my agenda really does focus on what happens when you do produce the education system that is outstanding in the world. You look at the jobs market and you start asking yourself, what skills are necessary so that places like Greer continue to be the hub of industry, a center of excellence throughout the entire world. And I think about the skills that are necessary to make sure that the next iteration of our success as a nation starts in places like Greer. And so you'll see that I focus a lot of my attention on the skills gap. 4 million jobs today unfilled in America because we can't find the folks that have the skills. And so one of the things that we do in a piece of legislation that I've sponsored, the Skills Act, is we try to find a way to fill that chasm by providing more training to the end user using our technical colleges and training centers so that we can continue to make sure that we have the workforce of the future, even if we have to re-educate our adult workers. When I think about America's future, it's so easy for us to focus our attention on the fact that we have $17 trillion in debt, that we run annual deficits of $700 billion this year, $1 trillion last year, that we saw $630 billion come out of the pockets of small business owners on January 2nd, that we're looking at a healthcare fiasco that causes more money to come out of the pockets of small business owners. But in the end, what I've learned this year, and I knew it when I was a kid, and this is simply this: business owners and professionals, in the worst market, if you give us enough time, we figure it out. We need certainty and predictability in the workplace. And if we can find those two things, we will succeed. And in spite of the government, we've seen the response of the business community standing up, being counted, creating jobs. And if we could get the government out of the way, lower taxes, reduce our regulatory burden, the engine would hum, I think, close to 7% GDP growth. I think all things are possible if we can get the right or the secret sauce together.